Welcome to Unleash Your Courage. This is your host, Angela Schroeder, and we are excited to have Libby here as our guest this week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Super excited to be here.
Yay. Well, if you are joining us on Facebook Live or you're joining us on Turf Step Radio or listening by recording, thanks so much for being here. On Unleash Your Courage, we talk about facing your fears, making courageous decisions, and doing big things. So, Libby, we're going to start off, and I'm going to have you just tell the audience a little bit about you.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Libby DeLucien, and I own a couple businesses. So I own a field service business, which is we specialize in cleaning and organizing here in Fort Myers, Florida. And then I also own Woot Recruit, where we specialize in recruiting. So I made Woot Recruit by accident because I had issues hiring for my cleaning business. And so now that's turned into its own standalone business, and we do recruiting now for about 25 different industries. So I'm also a mother. So I have 3 kids. I did all this while I was raising Yaya. You got to meet Yaya. She's my 5-year-old now. So I'm fairly new to the service industry when it comes to field service. And then I have a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old. So 5, 15, and 25. I'm a wife, I'm a parent, I'm a business owner, entrepreneur. I'm crazy just like everybody else here.
Yeah, doing it all. So, like you said, I got to meet Yaya, met Libby just a few weeks ago in New Orleans when we were at a QDS conference and just was immediately attracted to your awesome energy. And so couldn't wait to get you on the show. And I told Libby before we got on, I was like, man, I love your hat. So I say that a few times during the episode. If you're listening on the radio, she has this incredible hat on. So you should definitely check it out on YouTube or on Facebook because I'm way jealous. But yeah, so attracted to your energy and just that drive. You can tell, one, yeah, being a mom, that makes us multitaskers and doing big things, but just your passion for both of your businesses and, just that building and passion. So tell us a little bit about how long have you been in, let's go with the first business, the cleaning and organizing. How long have you had that business, and tell us a little bit about getting started?
Sure. So it started with just me. I had to quit my regular job or normal job because I was going through a life-changing phase, and I needed to come up with something that I could still be a parent. I could still drop off my kids, pick them up, and so it started with just organizing. And it was just me in the field for the first couple years, and then I decided to add cleaning to that to the organize it company because I had this grand idea that I wanted to make money without working. And if any of you guys own field service businesses where you deliver home services to the home, we all know that that's just kind of crazy, right? Make money without working. It's been an amazing ride. We added the cleaning division to organize it in 2018. And then I got pregnant with Yaya at that moment. And I remember trying to scrub toilets and figure out how to get myself out of the field. And I was 8, 9 months pregnant. And I couldn't just figure it out. And I said, there has got to be an easier way. And so it was a real struggle, and I'm glad that I went through it. I'm glad that, I delivered the service just like all of our techs here at Organize It, because it really helped me learn to appreciate that I hate cleaning and that I suck at it. And that it's a really hard job. It's a really, really hard, labor intensive job.
It is. And you
Mhm.
have to realize the things that you're good at, and you are good at organizing and processing and building a business. But if there are things that you don't want to do, it's how do you get yourself out of that role? And I
Yes.
remember you telling the story because I've been in that place of in my first business, like really in the trenches of building a business, like in the trenches of entrepreneurship, where there are seasons as an entrepreneur that you have to grind it out and you have to figure out like, this is the grinding season, which is even more difficult as a mom of young kids. And I was in that. Like, I'm like, what was I thinking? Why was I building a business when I had a baby? And I remember you telling the story of an epiphany moment as you literally were leaving the hospital without going home and were thinking about stopping at a job.
Oh, no, I didn't think about stopping at the job. We stopped at the job. We stopped at the job, and it was just from my lack of experience and lack of trust. Like, right, I didn't trust my staff, and that's sad to say, because I had no processes or systems for things. And at that time I was still figuring things out. I was very new to the industry, and so yes, we did stop at that house because we needed to check on it. And at that moment I knew that I needed to really get myself together, and I did seek out mentorship. I found Debbie Sardone. She owns Cleaning Business Fundamentals, because it was either I have to figure this out myself or I have to pay for a mentor to help me figure this out. Mm-hmm. And because I had just had my daughter, I realized that I didn't want to try to figure it out. I didn't have the time. I wanted to pay for it, because I feel like when you really learn the power of getting a mentor, or even in mastermind groups, it helps you accelerate your business, because you're not having to make those mistakes yourself. You're kind of paying to advance. It's like a fast pass, right, at the amusement park.
Yeah.
You pay extra for the fast pass so that I can skip the line and get ahead of everybody else, because I'm going to learn from people who already made this experience, or made that mistake, or have that experience. And so that's how I kind of also got into the lawn care industry. Was I started to join lawn care mastermind groups. And that's how I fell into QDS as well. Was I figured it's recurring service, like house cleaning. And so then I joined Jonathan Patoshnik's mastermind group, where he had his elite group. I've been in the Simple Growth mastermind group as well. And so I was like, it was amazing. They were like fast passes. I could just accelerate and beat my competition locally. And they're like, how is she doing this? And it was because I found the value in paying for either mastermind groups or mentors.
I love that analogy, and they are both like that, but I've never heard someone, I mean, I'm a Disney freak. I love amusement, Disney in particular, but all amusement parks. So I love that analogy to the fast pass. Like it's cutting the line. And there is so much value, like you said, in getting a coach, getting a mentor, or being in a mastermind with peers that are doing the same thing, because it does help you skip over those mistakes. It's going to take so long to build your business. Like you said, you needed to figure it out. And you were in a season raising a young child, raising a baby, that you are like, I don't have time to figure this out. I want to skip it over. And I'm willing to pay to get ahead of the line.
Yes.
Such a great analogy. And I think so many young entrepreneurs don't, and I don't know if I saw the value a long time ago of that. You just think you can grind and you'll figure it out, and I'm smart and I can find a way, and I'm sure I can figure out and just watch and solve a way to this problem. But when people think I can't afford to, like I can't afford to get a mentor, I can't afford to be part of that coaching group or that mastermind, they don't realize that you can't afford not to.
And that is so true. And I honestly didn't see the value when I was younger. I wish I knew now, like what I knew, like I wish I knew now what I knew in my 20s. Like I would be, so much more successful. I'd be so much further ahead. But if you can't afford a mentor, to me, like the next best thing is a book for $20 or whatever books cost right now. You're going to see them on Angela's bookshelf. You see them on my bookshelf for $20. Let's see what's the going rate. Yeah, for a book, I have one here. It's like buying a mini mentor, because you're learning from everybody's mistake in that book and what they did wrong. So if you're not there financially or even the time commitment, I always say like a book is the next best thing. It's like buying a mini mentor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A book, or listening to a podcast, or listening to shows like this, finding stories of entrepreneurs and what they did, and then watching them, following them and watching. And because of social media now, you can pick up on people in your industry and get a glimpse of their energy, or reach out and see what it is you can find more of with
Yeah,
them.
I mean, I love how we've changed and done so much Zoom, because if we wouldn't have, like, I don't think I would have made some of the connections and learnings that I have made, this in the last 2 years. One of the things that I love about joining other groups and listening to other like podcasts is, sometimes we're too industry specific and we don't leave outside of that industry. Say, like, if I wouldn't have left just the cleaning and ventured off into landscaping, I wouldn't have learned some of the tactics that I know now and we use in our house cleaning business, because business is business. And especially when it's a recurring, like we had a pool service guy in the lawn care with me. I think it was only him and me. We were the only cleaner, like the only different industries, but we learned so much from them and they learned so much from us. I love just really diving into different industries and learning from them, because I think sometimes when we're too much in it, we don't realize, like, oh my gosh, there's so many other concepts we could learn, so many
Yeah.
marketing strategies that we could learn when we invite others from different industries.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
I realized that. I mean, I'm newer to the home services space as well, but how much it all overlaps, that you can learn from other ones, like you said, because when you're just looking in your own lane and you are like, oh, that doesn't work. I tried that, and getting a new perspective, because they may not be the exact same, service. So you're not talking like fertilizer versus the cleaning project or the methods, but a lot of the processes and client service experience do overlap and
Absolutely.
are the same. So there is so much value I've seen and that was new to me too. I was like, how do all these people overlap and work
Yeah.
together?
Especially somewhere at like QDS, where she has tons of different industries there, and we all overlap and have so much in common.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So I was fascinated. So you began your organizing business, and then, like you said, branched off into cleaning. And I wanted to go back for a second. You were out of a life change that you knew you wanted to do something to fit into your life where you could still design your life around your kids and your schedule and really design your life. Was that your spark of entrepreneurism, of like why you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Is that you wanted to design your life? Do you feel like you always had that spark in you?
So, to be honest, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've never been a W-2 in my life. I've owned a bar before, restaurants, rental properties. So because of the life change, I had to find a way to do it on my own. So I went through a really, really nasty breakup with the father of my children. And so it was one of those things where I had to start all over with like little to no money. Like when I say little to no money, I mean no money. So I had to start over. So I've always been an entrepreneur by nature. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Um, it was just a different type, and I had no idea how to do the home service, because everything I'd done prior was in a different industry. Like I said, it was bars or it was restaurants or it was rental properties. It wasn't really delivering a service so much. So it was really trying to figure out how to do it with little money, right?
Mhm.
And doing it on my own. And that was the challenge, because when I had started over, I think I started over like I had nothing. I didn't even have my own clothes anymore. So it was a life-changing event, to say the least. And it was fun. It was a fun journey. But what I can tell everybody is that if you have to start over, it's okay, because I've started over. Now I have two businesses that are more successful than any other business I'd ever had before. And I'm having the best time I've ever had in my life. So we're always going to start. We can always start over or start new adventures or new verticals, new businesses. And it's okay. It doesn't matter how old we are.
Yes, that's exactly right. I didn't realize we had such a similar story because mine was like that a couple times. I unfortunately did not learn the first time, so I
Oh,
started.
honey, I only need one time to learn, and that's never happening again.
I didn't just need one time to learn to start over from zero, and there's a business. But like you're right. You're right. You don't start from zero. Wherever you're at in your life, you gain that experience, and it might seem overwhelming of starting something new at whatever age or whatever phase of life. And I definitely went through that as well. But you start with that experience that you had from before. So, like you have shown, you grow exponentially faster in the new businesses because it may be starting from zero money, zero experience in that industry, but the business experience and the grit and grind that you've gained help you grow much faster.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are like, how long you like, I don't know a lot of people in the cleaning industry that have been around for a long time because I've been in it for about 5 years. And that's where we make the majority of our revenue from Organize It because it's recurring service where organizing is one off.
Okay.
But a lot of people are like, wow, I've seen you grow so much. So I have grown so much, but all of the knowledge and experience and grit, I had that before. It's just at the beginning of opening the home service business, I didn't know how to apply it. And it took a little while to learn the industry. And then once I learned it, then I knew how to apply it and we hit the ground running.
I love it. Well, we need to take our first commercial break, but then we're going to come back and learn more, not only about organizing, but about the recruiting business too. So we'll be right back. We are back. If you are joining us on Facebook, make sure that you register your name with StreamYard and then leave us a comment. Let us know you're here. Ask us a question if you have one, but we would love for you to say hello. Okay, so I mean, and every time we talk about this organizing business, I think I want your organizing tips, but that's for later. Because I know I got to see, before we dive into the recruiting at QDS, you gave such a phenomenal talk on using AI to create your playbooks. And if you are listening and have a business and don't already have your processes really thoroughly documented, I always call it, when I talk to businesses, I used to call it if you get hit by a bus or anyone in your business gets hit by a bus, could the business run seamlessly without that person because it's so well documented? People thought that didn't sound very nice. So I now say, if you've been abducted, if you or someone in your business has been abducted by friendly aliens, do you have a well-documented plan? And you just gave, I've never seen someone present it that well. Not only just a thorough plan of all the playbooks and process that you need documented, but how to do it quickly.
Yes. So that was my organized brain. So what I've learned over time is that I don't really enjoy to physically organize items. I love to create a process that organizes your thoughts or streamline your workflow. And that's where my real passion comes into play. But the playbooks are something that it's a playbook essentially is it's a policy. It's not a policy. It's a process or a system. But it's much funner to say, "Hey, did you check the playbook for that?" instead of saying, "Hey, did you check the process or the system?" And I created that talk originally when we got hit by Hurricane Ian here in Fort Myers, and I had a playbook, and it helped us get through it. And I had documented it from the last hurricane and then from COVID because it's an emergency playbook is what it is. And then when AI came out, we were saying, I'm in an AI course and I'm in a mastermind where one of the founders of ChatGPT is in, and he was showing it the power of prompts, right? And we created the prompts where I essentially could get you your playbook made for your business, probably about 80% of the way with prompts. because prompts are where their power is in AI. And then you'd have to do the rest, making it more individual, adding some video and some graphics in there for your business. But 80% is better than nothing.
Absolutely. I was amazed at you just walking us through doing a few of them, that you could get the nuts and bolts, like the foundation of a playbook done so that it wasn't so overwhelming, right? If you're a business and you don't have any of your playbooks documented, it can be extremely overwhelming to think like, in what season am I going to set aside to write all of them? But you created a process to create the processes of here's a way to at least get the nuts and bolts done, so that people in the roles, then it kind of takes you out of having to do all of it as the business owner, because people that are in those roles, now that they have the foundation, the nuts and bolts, that they can go in and fill in the gaps of the specifics, do the looms, put in the details that's specific to your business.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. I could talk about it all day.
So check out Libby on Facebook, because I think you have some links to that. Do you have more online things coming up, or things that you offer online? And I'm putting you on the spot on that. I just like
So I do. Well, I have a Facebook group, and it's called $1 Million Hiring Strategies, and that's where I post a lot of stuff. It's just a free group, and that's where I post a lot of courses or content that I make that we give away. And then we do make a lot of deeper dive courses within our Woot Recruit Nation, which is our paid users. But my free Facebook group has a ton of content in it.
Okay, we'll make sure and get that posted here, because you guys check that out. It is so valuable. Like I said, I was fascinated. I had my team all look at it, and I was blown away. So I could see your passion for organizing and processes come through when you presented it, and in that for sure. So JC says hello.
Hello.
Okay, so let's dive into the recruiting business. And you said that one you founded, like, not accidentally, but it came as a need in your first business.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was the part that was an accident is that it turned into a business. So I would say when had just had Yaya, she was little, and I was trying to not go into the field, trying to get out of the field. And we all want to be in the field so we can learn a little bit, but then you kind of get stuck. You're like, how do I recruit to replace me in the field? And like, I remember cleaning houses all day and then changing my clothes in the car to run to an interview for just no one to show up, for them to ghost me. And it was so agitating. I said, there's got to be an easier way. So what I did was I created a process, and I used automation and technology to automate the process and make it really fast. That way, I could get the best applicants off the market as fast as possible, and to really create that process so that I can then streamline it, and it could run on its own without me. And all I would have to do is show up for interviews. I didn't have to look at nothing. I didn't have to schedule interviews. I didn't have to vet applications. The technology does all that. And I had said in my mastermind group, in my cleaning mastermind group, to my mentor, Debbie, I said, hey, I created this process, it worked great. And she goes, could you give a presentation on how, to our community? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I did. And Paul Fasthauer was in the audience, and he owns a very large company in Phoenix. And he was like, could you make this in my company? He's like, could you implement this? And that was March of 2020, and COVID had just hit, and we were stuck in Dallas at this conference. We had shut down all the airports, and the flights had gotten canceled. And I was like, yeah, I don't even think we're going to get home. Sure. And that's how Woot Recruit was born, with the help of Paul, and just taking that process and making it even better and making it scalable. And that's what it is now. And we serve about 300 companies right now in about 25 different industries. Our biggest industry is really home service, or the service industry, like, lawn care, house cleaning, restaurants, bars, you name it. If it's a high turnover industry, we can staff it.
Yeah, I was amazed when we were talking about this and you were saying the number of industries, because first I was just thinking the service industries that you talked about and that we're kind of in the community with, the cleaning and lawn care and washing and all of those. And then when you went into the vastness of restaurant and hospitality and
Yeah.
those that you serve.
Yeah, you even do staff for paralegals, which is so we get a lot of inquiries and we're like, well, we can't guarantee you it will work for your industry because we've never baited it for you, but we'll give it the best effort. And if it doesn't work, we'll refund your money. So that's how we get different industries to come in and try it. And they're willing to work with us and give us the feedback, and we can make it work.
I love that you took like you said, a problem that you were having in your own business, created a process for it, used your strength of what you're really good at in automating and creating a process to streamline a problem that you had, and ended up not only implementing that solution for your own business, but being able to help everyone else with it. I mean, how awesome is that?
So it's been amazing. I had no idea what I was doing owning a SaaS. So it's technically a SaaS, software as a service. I had no clue. Luckily, I know the investment and mentors. So I found someone to make sure that we were in the right direction. We were doing the right thing. And it's been an amazing ride. I think that both companies complement each other. We're beta testing right now. The new Woot Recruit has a new platform. And luckily, we have a service company to use as a guinea pig, which is my own service company.
That works out well.
It works out well.
So you talked a little bit about that you had a free community of resources that you provide, and that all of your clients are part of another community that are getting benefits. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I have a huge passion for just teaching. I love to teach recruiting, hiring, retention. It's kind of like the word when we say IRS, everybody's like, oh, I hate it. Like that is what I found when I would talk to people about hiring or recruiting. They're like, oh, I can't stand it. I hate it. And so my passion is to really teach people and empower them and give them the information and the tools they need to learn to love the process, because it's a people process. That's all it is. And so I have $1 Million Hiring Strategies, which is our free open Facebook group that I post in there right now. We have a 40-day challenge going on in there. I think we're on day 19 of how to up-level your management skills, because we have to be great managers if we want great people. And that one's free. We post lots of content in there, some fun stuff. And then we have a paid group for Woot Recruit. We call it Woot Nation. For Woot Nation, where we have deeper level content. We bring in guests. Let's see, our next guest is Sam Bradford from Dutch Bros Coffee. He's coming in to teach us some culture building classes, how to build our culture. He was the people development expert for Dutch Bros franchise. And so he's like our next guest. And then we have Jim, who is my fractional integrator or fractional COO. He's going to teach us a class inside Woot Nation on how to hire a fractional integrator or COO, and what should you look for, and what even is a fractional. So yeah, so we get really deep. So the open group is more tactical on the what we should do, and our paid group is more on the here are the steps. If you want to do it, you can. And so we share a lot of the content back and forth, but we go much, much deeper. And here's the one thing: the calls are much, much longer in the paid group. So I know that in the free group, we don't have a lot of time. We don't have an hour and a half to sit on a teaching call. That's more in the user group, because it takes a different level of commitment if you want that information, and not everybody's ready for that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you are definitely a great teacher. I got to experience that firsthand. So make sure you guys check out Libby's groups, because like I said, you're a phenomenal asset and great at sharing that information.
Awesome.
So diving a little bit into courage in your entrepreneurial journey. I mean, you told us about one courageous decision to start all over in something new and start from nothing, but anything else you can think of a time that you really needed to overcome a fear and really felt like you were digging deep and making a big courageous decision in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I can tell you about the most recent one was when we were hit by Hurricane Ian. Um, they say it's a storm of a lifetime, and I hope I never have to live through that again. It was probably the one of the hardest things that we had to do was one, we had to prepare, we had to prepare our office, our physical stuff, we had to prepare our home, but we had to prepare our staff. And this was hard. This was not easy. And everybody lost so much here in Fort Myers. We lost our office, we lost a car, we forgot the car. Um, but our clients, we lost probably 200 recurring clients in one day because they lost their home. Like, what are you going to say to that? We had our employees, our technicians, messaging us that they were hungry because they couldn't get out of their house. And so I had to figure out what to do as the business owner who, one, had many bills, right? At that time, our cleaning business was at about a $2 million run rate. I have bills of a $2 million cleaning company. And then the second is these people depend on me for their livelihood, and not just staff that I don't know. My mother works in the cleaning business. My son does our marketing. My dad is the handyman because there's a handyman division inside of our cleaning company. My dad is a handyman. My sister does the sales. They came to work for me after I had opened and saw that we had great culture and they wanted to enjoy where they worked. But so that stress of what do I do? I had to muster up the courage to assess what we needed to do. And we decided we were closed on Tuesday, we were hit on Wednesday, and we opened on Monday. And I had to, one, get the courage to just reopen the doors in a way that it didn't seem insensitive. But I knew that if I didn't reopen, that we would probably never open because we would be consumed by the amount of bills and stress that if you just put it off, it grows and grows and grows. So we reopened on that Monday with one job on the schedule for Monday morning. One. That was it. Going from a $2 million run rate to one job Monday morning on the schedule. I have to say that our staff were troopers. They were amazing. We lost a lot of staff, but the ones that we kept were phenomenal. We did everything you could imagine that we were legally able to do. As a cleaning company, we did laundry. We had friends that donated us so much money that we started to donate cleaning to Fort Myers, to clean up Fort Myers. I think we donated about 3,000 hours of cleaning. But it was the courage to say that I had to, pick myself up and be the leader that I needed to be because everyone was watching me at that time in the company. Like, what is she going to do? She's the one that we're going to model. And if she doesn't act scared, then we don't have anything to be scared about.
Wow. What a great story. And like you said, so many things in there about that people don't think about in being an entrepreneur, and the weight that you described, like how heavy that can be, the weight of all of your team on you, the weight of being, responsible for them, all of the family that had trusted you, everyone that trusts you, not only for their livelihood, but then, as you said, that is looking towards you, the weight of all of them, of what's going to happen to me, that you have to be the model for all these people of it's going to be okay, and the model for not giving up, and the weight of what decision that you were going to make. Sometimes there's never that clear-cut decision, right? You want to be the model for everyone not giving up, but like you said, you had to make a decision of, what do I do to give people hope and inspire and do the right thing for the business and take care of the people, yet not seem insensitive in that case. So it's, what decision to make and the gravity of that decision. And I love what you said so many times. This is true, I think, of that, not put it off because the stress is just going to grow. That if you wouldn't have opened on that Monday, that you might never have opened again, because how many times do we do that? And then things never come into fruition, or we ruin things because we put things off because of the stress of making the decision, and then they never happen.
Yeah. And so many companies here didn't reopen.
Because it all became over. I mean, and no one would blame them, right? It was a disaster. So
Mhm.
no one would blame those companies or think that they were a failure because there was a disaster, and no one's blaming them for that. But you chose to rise above.
Yes. And I have to say that I have many people to thank. There was a local cleaning business owner in Tampa who brought us truckloads of clothing and food for our staff and the community. So that helped us really up-level ourselves. My mother and my sister worked probably like 80 hours trying to get a hold of our customers, to check on their homes, to figure out like, luckily we have a truck that could get through the water and the debris so we could deliver food to our technicians. And so it wasn't just me, but I think it was the fact that they didn't see me stop, that we're just going to keep going, that they got behind me and they made it much easier for myself.
Yeah, you were the model to do that. We rallied a team, and that's because you talked about culture earlier, because you had built such a strong culture and such a strong team that you can only come together in times of crisis if you have built such a strong foundation like you have.
It was
And
definitely don't want to do it again.
well, hopefully you won't have to, but processes, like you said, and not only processes, but that culture, all the things that we build, that we talk about and build and are talking about building in the times that things are going well, are really things that that you have to survive those crisis moments. And that's the difference in businesses that make it through not only the bumps, but the all the way to the bottom, is, did you put all those pieces in place? How strong is your playbook and how strong is your culture
Absolutely.
to get through it all? Time is flying. I knew that it would with you. I'm always like, when I get like the alert of like time. Gosh, you've shared so many great nuggets of triumph, and I love your story, and I can't wait to check out the resources in those groups. But any parting wisdom that we haven't gotten to that you want to share with the audience?
I have so much to share, but I think one of the things that I want to share, it's in the recruiting realm, and it's three, you could say there's sentences that we don't tend to really do and that we struggle with. And we've always heard it before. It's, hire slow, fire fast. I'm going to change that, and I want to throw you for a loop, and it's going to be hire fast, fire faster, and promote fastest. I think we struggle at the last two. We don't fire fast when we know we made a mistake, and we don't promote fastest to keep our current employees.
I love that. I'm sure you have more about that in the group. That just like triggered a thought for me. I was like, oh, that is a completely different spin on it. We could go into a whole deep dive just on this. Like, yes, hire fast, bring them in, and then realize that you've realized quickly and accept. Do you think that's why we don't fire fast? Is we're not willing to
well, there's a whole different topic, but we're as visionaries or entrepreneurs, we don't like we love people, and to fire people, right? It's uncomfortable. It's a difficult conversation. We don't typically want to have them. We put them off. We like to give people chances, but we're doing a disservice to them by keeping them if we know that they're not a good fit, and to our company and to our culture by keeping them. And we need to let them go and set them free.
Absolutely. You're right. As visionaries, we're just like, come on, everybody.
We just want to have a party. We love everybody. We're like, oh, let's give them another chance. Like, it's okay.
Everybody in the boat. There's room for everyone, even if you're going to think us. And then promote fastest. Yeah, like find the value in people, and how do we do that?
But I find that we don't have the career ladders built out in our service businesses to even define what that is. Like, what is that title, and how much money does that come with, and what does responsibilities look like, so that they can aspire to be that? Because you could tell them in 3 months, look, I could move you up to a trainer, and then in 6 months you could be an inspector, and they could see what that looks like and what money comes with that as well. But I feel like in the service home service especially, we don't tend to have that laid out so clearly and specifically, and we don't use that to inspire especially younger people to stay with us. Because if you think that, like, the concept of a career tradesman, like a career cleaner, I don't feel that exists anymore, because there's so much technology and so much power at people's fingertips now, right? They could work from an app.
Absolutely. And you pointed it out that you have to have that ladder to begin with. And that's something we all need to work on. But you can't promote fast unless you have that designed. And people, when they talk about hiring, do it the best with hiring when you can tell someone when they come to work from you at the interview. Like, that's how you get them. If you're like, hey, exactly what you said, in 3 months, you can get here. Here is a path to your career with us. And then it's I think some people are afraid of doing that, because that means you have a responsibility as an entrepreneur. If you gave somebody a career path, you're committing that you got to grow your business to allow room for their growth.
Yeah, but it's going to force you to grow.
Yes.
I mean, there's different kinds of stress, right? We have to pick it. You can have the stress of being understaffed and losing money, or you could have the stress of being overstaffed. It's a different kind of stress. Right? The stress of being overstaffed is going to force you to grow the company and go find the work.
Yes. Force you to grow and go find the work for this team that you built. I like it. Just expand. I asked you to give me one more thing, and then I just am like, oh, we can do a whole show just on that nugget that you just gave us. Maybe we'll do a recruiting show again. So we like to leave the viewers with one last challenge each week, and that is, what do you need to do to get uncomfortable? What's one thing you need to do this week out of your comfort zone to grow? So I'm going to ask you first, I'll answer it, and then we're going to leave the viewers with that challenge.
So my challenge to myself, and I've already started it, is that I'm actually clearing out my entire home. It's uncomfortable because I'm parting with a lot of the things that may be sentimental. I don't have one dish or one fork or one piece of furniture in my house right now, because I am trying to make myself uncomfortable and creating a new environment to up-level myself as a leader. And this was the last thing to do.
Oh, I like it.
Because to change yourself, you have to change.
Exactly. And how many ways to change? That's a big way to get uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to get uncomfortable by, I was thinking of all kinds of things I was going to say, but since we're on social media, I am getting uncomfortable by committing to getting some more feedback every time we get feedback, right? And intentionally asking for like a deep dive in feedback on your own content, your own things, is uncomfortable. It's not always easy to like take a really deep look. You can ask people for feedback, and often they give you surface level feedback, but I am going for some deep dive feedback to be better at my content and get better and better reach. So it's definitely going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to be worth it.
It will. It's awesome. I just did a hoarding video for Organize It, like a live video, and I got so much feedback. Some of it wasn't nice. Oh,
we got to be willing to take it all, right? Well, viewers, that's my challenge to you. If you're joining us, if you want to post in the comments and be accountable for that, let us know one thing that you're going to do this week to be uncomfortable. Libby, thank you so much for all that you've shared with the audience today and me. I love your energy and just am inspired to put several things that you already shared into action.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. And I'd love to come back anytime you guys want to learn about organizing or recruiting.
Both. I need both. So we will have you back for sure. Thank you so much for joining us, Tercep Radio and Facebook. And we'll see you next Wednesday at noon.